Jose Antonio Vargas discovered he was undocumented when he applied for his driver's license at age 16. Vargas went on to become a successful journalist at the Washington Post, San Francisco Chronicle, Philadelphia Daily, and Huffington Post. In 2011, he revealed his immigration status in an essay in New York Times Magazine. Tonight, he joins us to talk about his new film, Documented, featured at the 14th Annual San Diego Asian Film Festival. Jose Antonio Vargas, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
You were born in the Philippines, and I know
Yes.
you still have family there.
Oh, yeah.
In light of this typhoon, how's everybody doing?
Well, thankfully, my mother, my sister, and my brother are all kind of in the northern part in Manila, so it's not as affected. They lost electricity for a few hours, and my mother said that the roof was clanging off. But thankfully, everybody's fine. But, it's just
okay.
heartbreaking, looking at all the photos and the videos.
I can imagine, but I'm glad they're okay.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
Now, I know you haven't seen your mother or been back to the Philippines since the age of 12 when you
Yeah.
came to the U.S. to live with your grandparents.
Yeah.
But your mother is a central focus in this film, so let's take a look.
Yeah.
So when I found out that I didn't have the right papers, that I was actually here in America illegally, I had to create a different system of reality in my head in which she was never a factor. I mean, we haven't seen each other in almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. This clearly is a very personal film.
That wasn't the original plan.
Right, exactly. So tell
No,
us about that. How'd this come about?
Well, I was gonna do, I'm kind of a big cinephile, so I've studied documentaries, and I was gonna do like a much more Dream Act meets Michael Moore kind of a film, right?
Political.
Yes, I had crashed the Mitt Romney rally in Iowa in 2011.
And you were
right
asked to
before
leave?
and I was escorted out by the cops and asked to leave, but not deported, which was interesting in and of itself. But yeah, so I was gonna do that. But then one of my filmmaker friends said, how can you possibly do a film on immigration and not put your mom? And, how do I do that? I can't leave the country. If I leave, I won't be able to come back.
Right, you don't have a passport.
So deciding to send a film crew to the Philippines and then having the footage come back and then, watching footage of this woman that I hadn't seen since I was 12, it was just, surreal.
Has that changed your relationship with your mother? Because you've had to edit this woman you're getting to know again.
I mean, in some ways it's been really cathartic, I'm a writer, right, for the most part. I mean, this is my second documentary, but film is very literal, It's a very kind of like you put a camera in front of somebody, it is what it is. And I think about how many other people are out there, right, who can't see their mom or their dad, who can't see family for years, for decades. And when we argue about immigration reform, I think that's what we should kind of keep in mind.
How come you made this documentary? I know you said originally it wasn't to reconnect with your mother, but
No, that wasn't the original.
Why do you want it to air right now? What's the purpose?
I mean, I should
behind
say,
it?
by the way, this is kind of the golden age of documentary filmmaking. The technology is just so much more, available to people, and so a lot of films are getting made, right, by the very people who are experiencing whatever that issue is. And so I knew that I wanted to do a film, and I started filming before I even came out.
Let's talk about that now. Documented actually does chronicle your coming out process, so to speak. What has happened since you've gone public with your immigration status?
Well, I mean, a part of me expected to be deported, and what I was not, like a few months after publicly disclosing, my status, I actually called the editor of Time magazine, and I'm like, hey, I want to write a story about why I haven't gotten deported. So one of the scenes in the film is actually me calling the government, Immigration Customs Enforcement, which was called ICE, INS before. And, hi, I haven't heard from you. Are you going to deport me? Why not?
What'd they say?
Well, the woman on the line was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why are you
like,
self-reporting yourself?
But, Obama, as we know, President Obama has deported nearly 2 million people in 5 years. Right, more than any other president, and I'm not one of them. And so I, as a reporter, my job was to figure out why not.
Well, we have to watch the film to get that
Yes,
answer. All right.
exactly.
You're an immigration activist now, and some would say the public face of undocumented immigrants. What do you think needs to change regarding immigration laws in this country?
Well, I mean, I should say that I'm the most privileged undocumented person in this country. While people are getting deported every day, scared for their lives, driving down 101 or like getting a job here in San Diego. Like, I'm here talking to you about my film. And I think what needs to change is we need to have a more honest conversation about this issue. You know, like here in San Diego, there's so much talk about the border, right? I mean, I came here, you know, on a plane. I didn't cross a border.
Right. So broadening that up. Unfortunately, people will have to see your film for that because I am out of time. So Jose Antonio Vargas, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
having
me.
And I do want to let people know that Documented screens this Friday night at 7 and 9:20 at the San Diego Asian Film Festival. For more information, go to kpbs.org.